YouTube and check if it works. I am terrible at that old. Of course, it doesn't bring up your own stuff at first. Google could make this thing easier for people. Honestly. All right, there we go. At least I've got that open. And I lost the only watcher I had. This is a weird week. Gonna be busy, obviously, for most of the weekend. Work has been busy, so I do have a few things already in the can. The Hornet Owl video is already fully recorded. The Light Ray video is recorded. I didn't want to put it as members only yet, but that's how it ended up being. I don't really mind. If members want to watch it, they will be invited to. What else do I have? For the next thing I was going to record probably for Friday is the Vindicator. I think some people will enjoy that as well. The pretty decent mech. Not the best, not the worst, but still something that's pretty fun to use. Today, what I wanted to do is try to build a G.I. Joe character for G.I. Joe crossover. Brand new character, not an existing G.I. Joe or Cobra character. And we are going to introduce it into the Battletech universe. So we have a few different things here. I've got my G.I. Joe role-playing book open here on the web so you guys can follow as well. And for me, I've got hard book. Well, if I need to switch between pages quickly. What else? What else do I have as announcements? We're doing pretty good on channel memberships. Well, not channel membership, channel subs. We're at 907. At 1,000, we're going to reach the next tier in monetization of the channel. If I can finally get this channel at least, enough to pay for the bills, or at least to pay for some of the bills, it would be pretty nice. It would give me a bit of a leeway to actually be able to buy a few more things, to invest in a few more things, to maybe not mess up those horrible streams as often. That's part of the idea here. That's what I would want this channel to be, just enough to pay the bills related to the channel and move things forward. I'm just being honest with everybody that's watching or that wants to be watching, so we know where we're going. There were some nice Battletech announcements this month. Well, not this month, this weekend. A lot of the force packs related to the upcoming Mercenaries bundle and things associated with it have been announced, including a full-on Celestial pack that might be interesting. I'm not sure what they're going to do with it precisely, if they're going to be close to the original Celestial designs, or they're going to go a little bit differently. I don't know. We'll see when we get there. For what I'm messing with right now with G.I. Joe X Battletech, most of those Celestials are Cobra commanders and Cobra upper officers battle mechs, since basically the Word of Blake is Cobra. That merges things fairly well. 40 character we're going to create. I have an idea of what I want to do based off Gung Ho. In this particular idea of a setting, I went with Gung Ho being a Gung-O being a Smoke Jaguar officer that became a bondsman to the G.I. Joes and then joined after helping out at the cafeteria with Mammy Lafitte. We're going to actually make Mammy Lafitte an old veteran that lost an eye and a leg, and now she's getting those backs through various surgeries so she can start being a pilot and a Joe again. Bought the Solaris DLC. I'm not sure. Is it available on PlayStation yet? Because I only have MechWarrior 5 on PlayStation. So if it's not available on PlayStation, I won't be able to play it just yet. But as soon as it is available, I'll probably be playing it. Or I might have to restart a campaign and get up to there. Doesn't really matter. I don't mind playing the game because the game I actually enjoy. A lot of people I know are not super huge fan of MechWarrior 5. There are things in it that I really like, and there are things in it that need to be improved. So it's a little one of those things that's a little bit weird, I would say. I have a feeling it's going to drop this week on like Tuesday on PlayStation because they usually are a little bit later on the PlayStation than on PC, but not by much. And generally, like new sales and new stuff on PlayStation Network comes out on like Tuesdays. I'll keep an eye on things on my end. So Mammy Lafitte is going to be the character we're going to make in G.I. Joe. So she was fairly gravely injured, but now she's in a better shape because of clan technology, trying to regrow her leg. Having lost an eye is not terrible. For mechwarriors, most of the time you can survive with just one eye. We'll see how it's going to go. What do we... So here we go to the book. I've got a fillable PDF that I grabbed from the company's website. I don't like that they have pronouns instead of sex up here. I'll just say female here. Origin. Okay, this is where things become a little bit different. When they say origin, origin is actually a thing in the game. Same with influences, same with essence. So the first thing we actually have to do is the character concept. Well, we have the character concept. She was a veteran. She got badly injured. Okay, that's weird. I'd have to double check in regards to the DLC here. I'm honestly not sure why it wouldn't be available, or maybe it's a weird thing with my PlayStation. I'll just check when I check. I'll just see. Not a problem. All right, so we've got a concept of a character already. First thing we have to do is set up the first 12 points of essence that we have for our character, and then buy the first batch of skills from it. So there's 4 essences. Those are basically your 4 stats. They really simplified things quite a bit in compared to regular D20. Let's say it's not a D20 system, but it's close enough because it uses a D20. But there's a lot of it that's quite different here with the Essence 20 system. Like we said here, there's 4 statistics. Each statistics has skills associated with it, and for every point you have in a statistic, you get 1 point in a skill as well. Sorry. One thing I need to know that would be in this skills section. I'm gonna use my paper book to go quicker here. I want to know what cooking requires. Sounds silly, but she is supposed to be a cook. Cooks. Hunting, foraging, tracking is survival, technology, social, performance, specific. Painting, cooking is a performance skill. Therefore, you would need iSocial to be able to use it. Well, that's unusual, but that would kind of make sense. I've got 12 points to spend, so you can just put 3 into everything, and you would be the most average person in the world. Well, at least an average, very well-trained military operative, because 3 is still a decent. Of course, if you look at guys like Snake Eyes and stuff like that, he's got a speed of like 22 or something. That's a bit different. But here, I want her to be decent at cooking. You don't want to have less than 3 speed. That's a thing that you learn from reading a few things, because the number of actions your character takes in a round, like you get 1 base action at speed 1, you get 1 base and 1 move action at speed 2, and you get 1 base, 1 move, and 1 free action at speed 3, and every speed point above that gives you extra free actions. So what do we do here? We have to think here of what we want to do. I want to keep speed at least at 3. Smarts at 3 sounds good. I'll actually put strength at 2 and social at 4. So she's a little bit more social. She's not as strong. She's supposed to be a, older woman anyways, probably in her early 50s. So she's a little bit different here. We did want cooking. So I've got 4 skill points to spend in social. I'll buy 1 point of performance. So I've got, whenever I will roll a performance check, it'll be a d20 plus a d2 for now. I'll get specialization in cooking for now. And I've got 2 more points I can spend. Persuasion and streetwise. We've got some basic things. For smarts, let's look here. Oops, there was already a point I put in science. Culture. Culture 2 dots and survival 1 dot. Okay, she's decently skilled at cultural different things and at survival for now. For speed, I'll actually go and put 2 points in targeting and 1 point in driving. So she actually knows how to shoot and knows how to drive various vehicles. For strength, I only have 2 points, so I do have to be a little bit more careful here. What I'm going to do is put a point in conditioning. That's bonus hit points. Normally pretty good to buy. And intimidation. She can yell at people in the kitchen and around the kitchen to get what she needs and what she wants. So we've got a very basic start of a character here. Bit of strength, a bit of speed, a bit of smarts, more social than everything else. She's got a little bit of things to deal with. All right. After we selected this very basic thing, we have to choose the influence. Influence is basically where is your character from and what does she derive from it. There's quite a few influences that you can use. First one is adventurer, someone who just likes to go on an adventure. They give you some of the G.I. Joe examples here. What it does, you get a bonus for various skill rolls, but you have a penalty on other skill rolls. And you have an adventurer's bond, like why are you adventuring if you want to go with something random, which is pretty fun to have. So, artisan, cover girl as an example for it, or even roadblock, who is a cook. So that would be one I could use here for this character, since she is a cook, but she's a cook because of reasons of previous reasons, she's a cook because she got injured. So she didn't want to be a cook. She ended up being a cook for the military because of what the life gave her. Athlete, probably not what I would want, but it's fun to have that option. Checkered past, someone who's a little bit of a crook, little bit of a weird, non-standard military personnel, let's say. They put Stalker in there because Stalker was a former gang leader. There's a few Cobras having changed and switched over to Joes that would fit in that as well. Gearhead, your actual mechanics. Green shirt is your average soldier who ends up joining the Joes because the Joes need, red shirt style characters. They call them the green shirts. It's basically your average Joe soldier that you see in every episodes of G.I. Joe that get shot at and are not very important. That's what a green shirt is. And if you go up into green shirts, well, you can become a full-on character. Martial artists, nomad, professional, small town roots, specialist, thrill seeker. So you have a lot of different options for influence, and what it mainly does is give you a minor upgrade to one like group of skill roll and a penalty related to it as well. So it's nothing super major. So I'm not sure what I would want to have with this character. Professional is you had a professional career in academics, business, or government services. It kind of works with what we have here because in her case, or the character's case we're creating here, she had a promising career as a mech warrior and as a soldier. Then she lost it and because of injuries. Now she's getting it back because she's in a good shape for it. So that could be one. My two real options that I'm thinking of here is either small town roots or professional. I'm just going to read the influence perk here. When you choose this influence, choose your previous career. You gain an edge on smarts and social skill when performing tasks related to that career or interacting with member of that profession. That would be pretty good. You're driven by result and find it hard to care for things that don't impact what you consider to be the bottom line. You have a snag on social and smart skill that don't drive your personal success forward. Maybe that'd be good. Small town roots. Your wisdom guides you and your hard work pays off. Once per session, when making a choice, you may ask the Game Master which option is better for you. The Game Master must then answer truthfully which of the two is most beneficial for you, if at all possible to estimate. Okay. Sometimes your simple experiences show that you lack eloquence or understanding of the greater world around you. When you meet someone new who you don't share an influence with, you suffer a snag on your first social skill test with them. All right, I think I'll go with professional. I think it's going to fit a little bit more as to what I want this character to be. I'm just going to go real quick. I'm going to type professional in both of them. You can modify influences almost as wanted by, according to the Game Master. There's a few more in the two other source books, in the Cobra source book and the Faction source book. I'm not going with anything fancy just yet. I'm just going with a very basic information here. And if I wanted here, I could roll a d12 and give me a bit more here. So we'll see here. Randomizer.com. Or is it randomizer.org? I just want a randomizer. I'll just ask for a randomizer. That's the one. The one I used to use all the time. I want one set. I want one number per set between 1 and 12. and least to greatest randomize. So number 11. I want nothing more than to end up in a safe world where I'm one of the most successful and powerful. That sounds a little bit weird for this particular character. I mean, this is suggested things. I'm not going to go in depth on this here. We're just going to go level 1 now. All right. Our next step is origins. Where did your character come from? That would be the equivalent of race in most D&D games, I would say. Here. Yeah, okay, my mic's still working. So, origins is, yeah, pretty much like your race. It'll give you a essence increase and a skill increase based on what essence you gain. It'll give you your starting elt, your starting movement, and how many languages. There's also a few perks that you get for being from a particular origin. The basic origins are your military branches. So Army, Navy, Air Force, non-branch specific support, so your Coast Guard, your first responder, your intelligence agents, and such. And your non-military origins, your civilian, engineer, scientist, in which there are quite a few in G.I. Joe, and if you're making a new character, can be fun to play. So you get a little bit of choice here as to where you're from. And it still works in the Battletech universe since, well, Army still exists. Navy, well, it's going to be Black Water Navy, but still, it still exists. Air Force still exists as well. I might have to actually make a full-on mechwarrior origin. But for now, I'm not too terribly worried. They also tell you, like, if you want to be something more specific, like pararescue. It's an Air Force Department thing, but it's closer to a first responder. So you'd go with that first responder origin instead. So, where is our Mamulafit from? She got injured. She was in the military before. So while we could go with the civilian origin, since she's been working as a cook for a while, what we can do here is choose another origin since it's a little bit different for her. I'm just going to have a look here. Okay, so Army is boost to speed or strength. Navy is a boost to strength or smarts. Air Force is speed only. Non-branch specific, it depends on which one it is. First responders, smarts or strength. Covered ops, speed or social. Intelligence is smart. Civilian origin, choose whatever you want. Engineer, smarts. Scientist is also smart. So it's a little bit limiting here. And there's not as many, let's say, race choices as, let's say, D&D, but you can play around a bit. I'll go with Navy. And I'll give her 1 more points in... Well, no, Navy was strength or smarts. I'd want social for her. And there's nothing that gives social naturally. Covered ops covered ops is the only one that really gives social outside of civilian. It's a bit interesting. It does give you a little bit of restrictions as to what you want to do. I'll still go with Navy. So our origin is Navy. So as a Navy, we get +1 strength or +1 smarts. Right now, her strength is lower, but her smarts is higher. I'm actually going to increase her smarts and give her an extra point in alertness. So she's a little bit more aware of what's going on. Not a bad purchase. As a Navy, you start with as a Navy sailor, yeah, you start with 2 health. Doesn't seem like much, but most weapons deal 1 point of damage. So it's pretty basic here. Movement is 30 feet and swim 30 feet. So you get a swimming speed for free. That's pretty useful. Language, 1 language in addition to any native language, and gain 1 for every 3 points of smarts. So if we look here, got 4 smarts. So I have got my Cajun French, which is my original language, English, which is her bonus language that she gets for free, and for her smarts being at 4, she gets another one. We'll go with German, so she can talk to anybody in the Lyran Commonwealth fairly well, speaking both English and German, and Cajun French being her natural language. We've got a base here. And origin benefits, sea legs. You get an edge on athletic skills check when losing your balance. Well, he doesn't have any athletics right now, so that won't make a big difference. Might actually move that intimidation point to athletics just because we've done that. Not a bad idea here. So can roll 2d20s. I mean, it's useful to get it. Then you've got the different other options. We'll just go with here. All right. Next one will be our role. Role being your class, as you normally have in those kinds of D20 kind of system. And it also has that 20 level grading chart here. They just follow the basic same thing as everybody else in a way. For the classes, there's basically you have your class and then a specialization in that class that you have to choose. Commando, infantry, officer, ranger, renegade, technician, and vanguard. I'm smart and social, so I'd probably go with officer or this character. So when you choose your role, you'll get a series of skills based on it. So commando, security experts. They've got their sneak attack, expertise, friend of darkness. That's your sneaky class, basically, in which you have subclasses: outrider, chameleon, and those are the options you have. Okay. So commando, focus option, infiltrator, sniper, spy. That's not really what I want to do with this character. Infantry, well, that's your basic fighter in a way. They're pretty useful. They've got a lot of flexibility with that ultimate flexibility thing. They're not meant to be bad at anything. They're not meant to be excellent at anything. But then you can choose your infantry focus. Artillery, mechanized infantry, and medic gives you a much more specialty and can be very useful if you're building a team for an entire campaign, basically. Officer is your leader. Basically, it would be like a bard in a way, but not as weird. There's no real. There is a focus. Okay, battlefield psychologist, frontline leader. You've got 3 options as well. Grandmaster. So you've got 3 options. I'm thinking of going with this one here with frontline leader as a role. Ranger are actually army rangers. They're going to be more than just your ranger in D&D. So you've got all sorts of different things, but improvisation, survival in various environment. The Beastmaster is in there as well. Pretty important in G.I. Joe, the Beastmaster, because there's quite a few characters that have animals. That's pretty useful. Renegade, those are your, it's another DPS class in a way. It's more made to get into fights quickly. So your blitzer, your door kicker, and your tank. Technician, a little bit weird, but it's really your specialist that does all sorts of really specialized things, but it includes explosives experts. So expert, think tank, tinkerer. Vanguard is a tank-like class, but it also includes all your heavy ordnance guy, your heavy weapon guy. So you've got a variety here again. So bodyguard, bigger armor, heavy ordnance, bigger guns, and juggernauts, the people who just stand on the battlefield and beat people up. So we have a bit of an idea here of the different classes. We kind of have an idea that she would be some sort of officer to try to motivate the troops. So we'll go with frontline leader. So I'll go to my character sheet. For role, I'll go with officer, frontline leader. I know that'll be in focus, frontline. All right, what do I get for that? Well, let's just start here. Frontline leader. So follow the leader. Speed essence increases by 1. Okay, it's your speed that goes up with that one. I've got speed 4. So infiltration, finesse, driving. Which one do I want to raise? I'll actually put a point in initiative, so I have better initiative rolls with the character. Gives us a little bit of a something. Shoulder to shoulder is at level 3. Okay. What else do I get here? First level perks. Okay. Be a hero. That's your standard G.I. Joe, basically traits. Be a hero. Training, you increase your social essence by 1 and your smarts essence by 1 each. Okay, so social and smarts go up by 1. Smarts is 5 and social is 5. And for role skill, persuasion, awareness, and culture. So she already has 1 point in persuasion, so she'll have 2 points in persuasion. And alertness or culture, well, culture is already at D4, alertness is at D2. I'll go with D4 alertness as well. So she's pretty alert. She knows about the different cultures of the inner sphere. She knows how to cook. She knows how to persuade people. And she knows how to handle herself in rough situation with streetwise. So equipment, training, and qualification. I'm trained in light and medium armor. So if I go here, I can write it down. Light and medium armor. And for weapons, most of the Joes are trained in quite a few things. Ballistic weapons and explosives. Okay. The officers don't have as much as some of the others. But it's still pretty good. Everyone gets Yo Joe, which is your basic, another one of your basic G.I. Joe trait. Gives you +1 health, standard issue equipment, qualified in all standard land, sea, and air vehicle, because everybody should be able to pilot whatever when they're a G.I. Joe. What did I... All right, I missed something here. Give me a second. I'm back here. All right, I forgot to put Be a Hero in the perks. Be a Hero gives you bonus. You can spend story points to get stuff. This we've already done. This we've done. Yojo we've done. Focus, we've selected it. Battle Commander, Plan of Action, and Rouse. You get a lot of skills at the start. Rouse is inspire confidence, basically. Plan of action is Give people bonus to their skill check, another form of a cool little bonus. Plan of action and rep. I get +1 ELT from being a G.I. Joe. 3. And for frontline leader, I already put follow the leader. No, I need to put it there. Because it also gives you the ability to actually lead. If someone's ahead of you, you're going to take over from them. The lead from the front. That's what G.I. Joes are supposed to do, because they put the lead in leader and not the office in officer. I kind of like that saying. So if we look here, we're actually done with character creation. After that, you can look at your skill things and what they are, how to roll. It's pretty straightforward how you're supposed to roll. In this one, you roll your D20 plus the highest skill rank you have. If you have a specialty, you'll roll all the dice and keep the one that you. So toughness is 12, which is not much. She's not very tough. Evasion is 14, which is pretty good. Willpower is 15, which is really good for a starting character. And cleverness is 15. Oops. So she's got pretty good defenses in social and smarts. Decent one in evasion. And if it's something that's tough, it's going to be harder. Oh, I forgot to put the extra ELT for conditioning. I've got 4 ELT, which is I for a starting character. We'd have to choose armor, we'd have to choose equipment, but we're not going to go there, basically. So it's a pretty fun, basic character here we've made. An older woman that used to serve in, well, let's say here the Navy. And now she's going to be a brand new Joe after getting a new leg. She is AFFC, so either for the mechs, we're either going to go with Davion or Steiner. That's 3050. We're wanting to go with the 3057 charts with a AB rated Davion. There, we'll go with that. Do we go with light mech, medium mech, heavy mech, or assault mech? Well, I'm going to go let the universe decide for us. She's an assault mech for some reason. So I roll a D100. Yeah, I'd roll a D100. 1000, I mean. Actually, I'm going to roll 3, and we're going to keep one of the 3. So 241, 570, 921. 241 is a stalker. 570 is a longbow. That's very supporty. 921 is a devastator. So stalker, longbow, or devastator. Devastator 2, to be precise. I don't know the devastator all that well. The other 2 I have a good idea. Devastator. There, that's what I want. What's a devastator 2? That's the base model, okay. 2 Gauss, 2 PPCs, 4 medium lasers. Well, that's a mean thing. All right. Not quite sure here if that be the one I would want to go with. Or we can have, like I said, we can go with a Stalker 3F. Stalker 3F is your base model. It's a pretty decent mech in my book. And 920, no, the other one was the longbow. Longbow 7Q? Longbow 7Q. Because I think the basic longbow is. Yeah. So not many of those mechs are very advanced, which would kind of work here because she's just starting out as a Joe. The Devastator is the most modern of the bunch, and I don't think it would be something that would be given to someone who's just getting back into service. So Stalker or Longbow. I think I'll go with a Stalker. We'll go with a Stalker. Write it down here in here. And a very basic Stalker. STK3F Stalker. Which is not a bad mech. Let's not go hog wild here. It's not a terrible mech. What can we do with it? Well, quite a bit. It does come with a decent price tag as well. Even the base model is still around 7 million. Not a cheap mech. Let's think here of what we are going to do. Thing is, the engine is pretty. Changing the engine rating would bust my budget instantly, so we can't really touch that. Double heat sinks is not a bad idea, but I basically have no room for anything else. I'm not even sure if I can fit all those double heats. No, I can't. I've got 4 that I can't fit in. Just because of how big double heat sinks are, or inner sphere ones. But it does save me 4 tons doing this. Heat dissipation is not that great, but you know, things are as they are. I don't have a whole lot of things I can do. Let's see. Take out those 2 SRM6s and replace them. Streak 6 also takes only. Do Streak 6 instead of the regular 6. Gives you more ammo efficiency. Not a terrible idea. I got 2 tons left. I'd almost go with the most basic thing and add 2 tons of LRM ammo. I'm still under budget, but I can still play around a little bit. Endo composite would. Much armor do I have? Okay, you don't even have max armor on. Two tons of LRM 20 ammo, LRM 10 ammo, or do I boost up the armor? I mean, if I turn some of those lasers into large ER lasers, my EAT is going to go through the roof again. Of course, you're not going to shoot those LRM 10 when you're in close range. They don't eat that much, only by 4. The eye eat curve weapon are those 2 large lasers, but they're really useful for just about everything. Large lasers are very, very good. What was the base price on that Stalker? 740. 770 if I went with endo composite, I get 2 tons. Little bit more expensive. Do I have room for it? Barely. Gives me 2 tons, which does beef up my armor to 240. Not a terrible setup. You eat up quite a bit because of you've got a lot of weapons, but it's not terrible. Only 1 ton of ammo for the Streak SRM6 might not be a whole lot, but that'd be something I'd have to play with to see. Then again, if the Streak SRM6 doesn't shoot, it doesn't take an ammo, so not a bad thing. That mech is fairly survivable, I would say. Not the most survivable mech I've ever built, but it's got decent armor. It's got decent weapons. I'd almost switch over some of those medium lasers and put them in the torsos instead of the arms, but being in the arms is great because you can flip those arms. I'd go with something like that. And a basic mechwarrior as well. And I'm in my budget here. I didn't go over by more than $1 million in extra upgrades. And none of those upgrades are super difficult to set up or justify for a special forces unit. So I think it is a reasonable setup. I'm going to save this character. We've got like 10 minutes left on the stream because I do want to stream for about an hour. What we're going to do, this I'll just bookmark. This I will also bookmark because those are useful. We're going to go and try to generate a picture for her. Okay, well, why is Night Cafe not letting me go in? Haven't used it in a few days, I would say. Oh. That's the thing. Night Cafe is the one I use. It's really not the best one from experience. It's not the greatest. High quality, fast, and cheap. Okay. Well, you can train your own model. You can do a lot of things with it. And if you have Pro, you can use DALL-E 3, Creative Upscaler, some of the fancier ones. I'll use this one here. This is one I normally use. For preset, we'll go with a artistic portrait. I think that's the one that makes the most sense. Or I could go with the modern comic. I think I'll go with artistic portrait here. Describe what you want the AI to create. Well, older Cajun woman with an eye patch in a kitchen, in a cafeteria kitchen, I will say. Cafeteria kitchen. Wearing a military uniform. Let's just go with something fairly simple and we'll see if it does anything good or bad, and we'll go. I've generated a few things that looked okay. Most of them doesn't. I like those cat ones. All those cat ones I used to make the Khajiit pictures for their flag. Pretty cool. Not the best ones ever, but pretty cool. Those mech's ears are really not that great. Those Irish guys, not the best. The engineer guys, they're okay, but they didn't follow what I wanted them to do. This one here was for a contest with a monster on a toilet. I tried. We've got no reason to not to. Got all sorts of little things here. Some of them you might have seen on some of my thumbnails as well. Used it for thumbnail arts for fun. Being slow here tonight. Usually it's faster than that. Okay. Okay, there it is. Okay, it's having a hard time with the eye patch here, I think. And she's a little bit older than I would want here. Go with a middle-aged. With only one eye. We'll go with that. Uses up my credits, but I don't really care. It does save them anyways, even if you don't publish them. We're gonna try just one or two more. Doesn't really matter in the end. It's not like I use this AI all the time, and I think there's better ones out there that I need to learn how to use in order to be able to do. Basically, what I'm doing now, just generating a quick thing for a game or something like that. It's pretty useful. A lot cheaper than getting an artist, obviously, and I know artists are going to get really mad at me for saying that, but that's what AI is going to be used for a lot of people. Just to get an idea of what you want to do, or to get a thing thrown out to be able to generate a character or two. This window here. Okay, they have a really hard time with the only one eye. I think it's just a thing that's a little bit too difficult for them to generate. But it's still not a terrible. Of course, the ands are always the one of the things that you have to keep an eye on. Like here, it's terrible. Here, it's also terrible. But the first one, actually, here, this and looks almost normal. It's pretty decent. She is a bit emaciated. Looks a little bit funky. I could probably get an eye patch and put it on her here. So I'm actually going this and maybe play with that later. I mean, I can easily edit something in, make myself an eye patch or get one online somewhere, start packing it in. She's not terrible here. It's nice to see a decent uniform. The flag is terrible, but it's always going to be a U.S. flag. One thing I've noticed with Night Cafe, it always go with U.S. flags when you ask it for one. But hey, it works. So a few things that you can play with. If I really needed to make very specific things, I'd have to train my own AI and do a few things like that, which I might do in the future. Just for fun. And I'm going to publish those just so people can look at them. This particular system works. So I thank you very much for listening to me for so long. I don't think a whole lot of people watched today's little episode, but I had a lot of fun doing it. And I hope you guys have a very nice rest of your day.